You recently wrote an article on your blog, Delivered by Grace, entitled The SBC, the Southern Baptist Convention, at the Intersection of Intersectionality. And in it you address the issues of sexism, racism, male-female role reversals within the church, and you write this at one point: "We should all work to root out racism and uphold the proper use of women's gifts inside and outside the local church, but the social justice warrior movement is not the best way forward. A firm commitment to the gospel of Jesus Christ is the only way forward." Mm-hmm. What does the gospel practically have to do with answering the issues of racism, misogyny, role reversals within the church context? How does a commitment to the gospel promote the flourishing of men and women within the church and answer some of these issues that you're saying the social justice warrior isn't going to be able to resolve?
Right. That's a fantastic question. First and foremost, the gospel of Jesus Christ, as we consider the fact that Jesus said, "I came to serve, not to be served." And Jesus talks about what submission looks like. He demonstrates that in his earthly ministry. When we see Jesus coming to save people from their sins, we have to understand right from the beginning that a commitment to social justice is not the best way forward in these particular areas. First and foremost, we need the gospel of Jesus Christ to change the depravity of the human heart. So if you have differences among ethnicities, different skin color, for instance, in a community, the best way to fix that is not through justice. It's not through creating new laws. It's not through a social or political maneuvering. It is through the gospel of Jesus Christ that would pierce the heart, that would change the heart, where God would take out that heart of stone and give us a heart of flesh, a heart that's living. And so when God opens our eyes and causes us to see the blackness, the depravity, who we really are outside of Jesus Christ, then it changes the way we treat one another. It changes the way different ethnicities treat one another. And so you see that in the book of Acts. You see that in the ministry of the Apostle Paul. You see him dealing with issues of Jew and Gentile. In Romans 3 specifically, you see him talking about the issues of the fact that Jews and Gentiles, that both groups are under sin. You see him speaking about circumcision of the heart in Romans chapter number 2. And it's not just this external cutting of the flesh that God was interested in, it's the circumcision of the heart. And so we need the gospel that would cause true unity to take place. That's why it is that the civil rights movement was a failure, and still to this very day, the dream of Martin Luther King has yet to be realized, because people have tried to make America the new heavens and the new earth through political maneuvering. And it's through the gospel of Jesus Christ that we would achieve those very goals. Furthermore, in marriage, the whole idea of biblical headship, we see that spelled out for us from creation all the way through, and Paul outlines that and gives us a clear understanding in his theology that he writes to the church in Ephesus, so that the husband is the head of the wife as Christ is the head of the church. This idea of complementarianism is where you have men and women that are both created in the image and likeness of God. They are equal. However, there are roles that they are created to carry out for the glory of God. And so to reverse those roles would be a misunderstanding of God's intent in creation. And it would also not be through social justice that would enable us, both in the home and the church, to see women using their gifts and their roles in the most proper way through, say, a political agenda or a social justice agenda. It's through a right understanding of the gospel, rooted in creation and playing its way out all through redemptive history, through the New Testament, that we see men and women serving and using their gifts according to God's original design and for the glory of God. And so I think that the social justice movement really hinders that. I think a social justice movement hinders unity between ethnicities, and I think that it also will smash the foundation of complementarianism. And I think that it will drive an agenda of, in some way, of egalitarianism as far as being spelled out and played out in the life of a local church and across denominational boundaries. So all through evangelicalism, this is going to be a very big issue that we need to keep our eyes on.
But the church is feeling the pressure of the culture, isn't it?
Absolutely.